Welcome into Boxing Scene's top stories here on ProBox TV. Have no fear, our long-form content is still here. Big fight breakdowns, our ranking shows. This is just the boxing news cut up into digestible pieces. Download the ProBox TV app and never miss out on your boxing news. Big news right now, VERGIL Ortiz winning an instant classic over Serhiy Bohachuk in a very, very close fight. Some would say controversial, but he gets the win. The question here is, what is his future? I got the people to answer that. Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi, and ESPN boxing analyst Timothy Bradley joining us. Chris, the obvious answer is, of course, Terence Crawford, who came up to 154 pounds, defeated Madrimov for a version of the title. Doesn't look like Canelo's in the offering. This is a name thrown out by Turki Al-Sheikh. He's writing the checks. This should be next. Do you think it'll happen?
Well, I mean, let's ask that question. Is it the obvious next step? Because just because Turki says it so doesn't necessarily mean it is so. Because if you speak to Oscar De La Hoya, the promoter of VERGIL Ortiz, he was not talking about fighting Terence Crawford next. He was looking at a Tim Tszyu matchup, which was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago anyway, before Tszyu had to pull out from the injury from the cut that he sustained in the Fedora fight. So it's not necessarily like the foregone conclusion that is the obvious next step. Sure, Turki says that, which means there's a lot of money behind it. Sure, it's a good fight. VERGIL Ortiz is probably coming up on being the next biggest star in the division behind Terence Crawford himself. So it does make sense in terms of that. But you got to see what Ortiz and his team wants to do. He just had a very, very tough fight that many people actually thought that he lost. So it does become a bit of a controversial decision victory. Where does he go from there? Does he go right into a huge fight? Is he ready for a fighter of the magnitude of Terence Crawford? Depends who you ask. And I think a lot of that's going to fall on him if he wants to fight, if his promoter wants to fight. At the end of the day, this is business. It's not always the fights that seem the most obvious that get made. So I'm curious to see where this goes in the future. But like I said, De La Hoya was looking elsewhere before Turki Al-Sheikh had brought up the Crawford fight.
Paulie, I got to ask you, man, you've been through a lot of, the back scenes, the negotiations, you know a lot about the business. Why would Oscar De La Hoya want somebody else other than Terence Crawford, the GOAT right now, the pound-for-pound king on a lot of people's lists, big money fight? Why wouldn't he want the fight? Why would he go somewhere else? What's your thought on that?
Well, because Crawford doesn't belong to Golden Boy. So if Crawford does beat VERGIL, then you end up just keeping your defeated fighter. All the momentum is lost, and Crawford will leave with all the momentum he's taken with him. Usually you're going to want some kind of option, or at least if you're going to take that kind of a risk fight. Listen, enough money is there, the fights will get made. We've seen that with Turki Al-Sheikh. I will say this about Turki Al-Sheikh. All due respect here, okay? Because I've given criticism and I've given praise when it's necessary. With all due respect, you are not making tune-up fights, okay? Stop talking like you're making tune-up fights, because he's constantly done this before. He did it with AJ and Wilder, where he was planning that fight, all while Wilder and Zhang were getting ready to fight. He actually stepped on his own card, where that was the main event, and made like he was going to make AJ and Wilder, completely disrespecting Zhang, and then Zhang knocked out Wilder, so that fight imploded. He did it again before this fight here. He started making like VERGIL Ortiz was next for Crawford when Canelo was out the door and was rude to him, and then all of a sudden, you're treating Bohachuk like he's a tune-up. If you want to make great fights, and you make great fights, and we love the great fights Turki Al-Sheikh's making. I am all for them, and I think all of boxing. I speak all of boxing when I say keep them coming. But stop talking like they're tune-up fights. Stop planning. You can't script this, especially when you're making very even matchups, and you've seen yourself that there's a lot of upsets in the making. All right, this fight was almost an upset. It could have been an upset, and the spineless boxing media that never ceases to surprise me and amaze me. What were they doing right away? Just because Turki was saying Crawford next, as soon as the fight's over, how many headlines did you see? Ortiz wins, eyes Crawford next.
All of
Ortiz
them.
wins, eyes. They are spineless. They have no backbone, no morals. They will kiss anybody's ass just to keep the momentum going. They've always been spineless. I've noticed it my whole career, and even after my career, they continue to be spineless. That was disgusting. Nobody clamoring in the media for a rematch where half the population thinks Bohachuk won. This was a fight of the year candidate. Bohachuk versus Ortiz rematch will be a better fight than Ortiz versus Crawford anyway. Ortiz versus Crawford is interesting. There's no way it's going to entertain the way Bohachuk and Ortiz just entertained and would entertain again. The fight to make, the future to make, the fight is Bohachuk and Ortiz and Bohachuk 2. Ortiz and Bohachuk 2. That's the fight to make next.
All right, what's your thought, Tim? You can tie-break this one in terms of, you got Tim Tszyu, you got Crawford, you have, once again, the rematch. You thought Bohachuk won the fight. What would be your option right now if you're in charge of VERGIL Ortiz?
Well, what would be my option? Follow the money. That's what every fighter's option going to be. Follow the money. Where are you going to get the most money at? However, I'll say this about Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz says, I've watched him in the past do interviews about Terence Crawford. He feels that no one can beat him. I mean, just with him saying that, I don't even think that he believes that he can beat Terence Crawford. Now, I understand what Sheik is trying to do. He's trying to position Crawford, get him another world championship. However, there's business that still needs to be done. I agree with Paulie wholeheartedly. You know, there should be a rematch in this fight. It was too close. It was a controversial decision. It should be a rematch, automatic rematch, because I believe that Boychuk got jobbed. I really do. And there's no knock on Ortiz. Ortiz did a damn good job. Ortiz actually showed me and checked a lot of the boxes that I had questions of. Is what happens when he goes down? You know, can he stay concentrated? Where's the condition? What is the conditioning like on the back end of the fights? I have all these questions, and he checked all the boxes, guys. He did. He's a fantastic fighter, and he fought as hard as he can to the end. He got the decision. However, many of us that were watching felt that Boychuk won the fight. So what would I do? Run it back. That's what I would do. However, fighters, they're going to follow the money. If a Terence Crawford fight was to materialize for Virgil Ortiz, he will not pass it up, and I don't blame him. You want to know why? Because the money is too damn good, guys, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
For a prize fighter, it's all about the prize, and I understand, Tim, what you're saying, that the money's there, the fight is going to get made. It's about who around him is going to make the fight happen. That is the question when it does happen. You'll hear it first here on ProBox TV. Don't miss any news.
Wednesday Night Fights.
Dynamite action on Wednesday Night Fights every other Wednesday on your boxing channel.
Coming up on your next Wednesday Night Fights, August 21st. Former Unified World Champion Swift Jarrett Hurd takes on former Unified World Champion Jason Banana Rosario. Live from the ProBox Event Center in Plant City. Get your tickets at proboxtv.com or take your chances at the door. Wednesday Night Fights.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.